Welcome back to TFE, a weekly news podcast in which we give our thoughts, feelings, and emotions on the latest gaming, film, tech, streaming news, and other random crap we feel like. I am your host, Dan Weller, and our co-host is still kidnapped, so Joey is joining us once again.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back.
And in this week's episode, we are talking about Far Cry 6 crazy requirements. Sony is trying to solve the chip crisis, and McDonald's is giving away NFTs. But first of all, we are going in to stream that movie news into my head and talking about the House of Dragons trailer.
I've got to say, this looks pretty exciting. I think the Game of Thrones was, an enormous hit at the time. So a disappointing ending for many. But this looks very good. I think it's got me excited again for sort of the HBO Game of Thrones series. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Matt Smith, I think, is the lead role. I could be completely wrong there, but it sounds like he is. He's in the voiceover at the start of the trailer.
Yeah, he seems to be the dominant character in this. I'm not sure who he's playing. Clearly, a Targaryen of some sort. I'm not sure the entire history. I haven't read the books, but it looks good. It looks like it's a nice sort of origin story for some of these. Sort of the houses more than the characters. But
yeah, I mean, I am interested. However, I did see a interesting quote of saying this is like a bad ex coming back to say nothing really happened bad between us, but they ruined your life, and they just want to get back together and say this is fine.
Yeah. Although it's different writers though, isn't it? It's not the
yeah, it's different writers because I don't know actually. They did get sacked from Star Wars.
Yes. So maybe they're looking for a job. They might go us back.
I'm assuming they're not allowed to go back.
Yeah.
I think they've been banned.
So hopefully, yeah, they've been banned. Yeah. Hopefully somebody somebody else will take over and sort of I think it's a very good sort of universe in terms of the basis of it. I think it's there's real opportunities there. I think the initial seasons of Game of Thrones were fantastic. Some of the sort of the best TV I've watched for quite a while. So hopefully if we get some decent writers in, it will be the same.
You would have thought so. You would have thought so.
Yeah,
you would hope. Doesn't quite how that works, but you never know. I don't know if there's an official date for this yet. I want to say there isn't.
Not that I can see. I think I think it just says 2022, which is closer than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be maybe a bit further, or maybe it's towards the end of 2022.
They have finished all the filming now. They're just editing.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, that's good.
So yes, it will be sooner than later. I'm not sure how we're going to watch it in the UK. It's probably going to go to Sky Atlantic again, I imagine. But we will have to wait and see. Oh, 1st of January, apparently. 1st of January, 2022.
Oh, bloody hell. Well, I'm excited.
That is soon.
Now, more than ever. That is soon. It's not far away. So some good TV to look forward to. Hopefully they can live up to the expectations, because they're probably going to be, I don't know, they're probably high, but also people are so sort of guess disappointed from the previous thing. They might just be like, oh fuck it, the last season was a bit dodged, so it could just be like, this could be as bad as the last one. But if it's good, it'll
I really hope it is good.
Hopefully.
You'll never know. But you know what's not good? Is that the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book has been cancelled, and it's hurt Marvel LGBTQ plus representation. How bad is that?
Well, it's a bit of a weird one, this story. I'm a bit confused by the whole thing.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, a Disney CEO or Marvel executive cancelled one of the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book series because it was too gay.
Yeah, which is a weird... I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that. It's a bit of a weird statement to make.
It is, yes. And now people are pissed off at Marvel, saying they do not represent the non-straight community, because I can't be bothered to say every single letter again. I am sorry, please don't hate me.
I think you could just say queer.
That's what I said. I've always said this. Like, doesn't queer just mean not straight? Isn't that the meaning?
Yeah, essentially. It's sort of it's sort of to do with the ambiguity, because you can be multiple different instances. You can not just be a lesbian, you can be other things, and it's sort of the coverall term. But I'm not entirely sure. I'm not that clued up on the LGBTQIA plus, whatever it is now.
Yes,
community.
I mean, I'm all for it. People are expressing their names, but please, can you get a shorter name? This is quite annoying. Just get one word.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's slightly annoyingly large that people are like, I don't even want to say it now. It's just that long. So yeah, maybe there could be just a way of like shortening, and maybe queer is there. I'm not too sure.
You just need one umbrella term to cover all of them, and then you don't need to keep adding letters. Just invent a new word. Huzzlecuff.
Although there is the argument that people want to split them, or that certain members of that group want to split them into two, Whereas you've got people that are LGB, which is just being, your sexuality, and then you've got the transgender, which is not to do with your sexuality, it's gender. So people think they are actually different,
I suppose you could split
groups.
Yes, but there's a whole debate. I don't want to get into it, but sexuality versus gender.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. It's a bit of, you don't want to go into that because it can be viciously complicated.
Yes, and I don't think we're qualified to talk about any of that.
I don't think we're qualified. I do not have any experience around it. So,
and I'll tell you what we're also not qualified in: filmmaking. And talking about filmmaking, Venom 2 has used footage of the Matrix 4 filming, which is quite an interesting topic, I thought, of two completely different franchises, and one's copied the filming.
It's a weird one. I think it's I never really it's sort of like stealing, like, because there's been a lot of, like, I think recently in the music sort of area, people like people say they're stealing stuff, and I think so. It's interesting to sort of see it in the film industry, but like in a slightly bizarre one.
Yes, apparently the scenes that they're referring to is the background scenes in Venom. Of course, in the UK, we've not seen Venom yet. It's not out in the UK yet, so please don't spoil anything for us.
It's all in San Francisco, so it's the same sort of. It's B-roll, right? I think that's what you call it, where it's like sort of these
so
shots.
The two films have some of the same B-roll.
Yeah, which is it depends, because I guess some of this stuff they might just buy some shots of just San Francisco. I assume there are people that just have taken shots of San Francisco and then will just sell that to movie companies if it just fits within the sort of story. So I assume they've just bought it off the same person. Or they actually just stolen it, or somebody is on the inside has stolen it.
Well, here we go. So The Matrix 4 paid the San Francisco Police Department $420,000 over the 21 days of shooting, and Venom 2 paid $192,000.
Right.
So I think they took some of the stuff Matrix did instead of paying all of that money again.
I guess so, yeah. Because if you've got it depends what kind of shots you need. I think if you wanted to, like, if you just wanted just backgrounds, people walking around, that's kind of easier to do. But if you actually want to, like, lock down areas and have your own structured sort of environment, I think that's when it becomes expensive, because you've got to, like, close down streets.
Are you going to watch Matrix 4?
I might have a look at it. I'm not sure when it's coming out.
December 22nd.
December 22nd. I might give it a go. There's not too much out in the cinemas.
Well, apart from Spider-Man, which comes out at the same time.
I'll watch both of them back to back. The
from one screen. Just in the same screening.
Matrix in the morning, Spider-Man in the afternoon. Fantastic.
It's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then we can do Venom maybe in the evening, if it's still, whenever that comes out in the UK. Not sure.
Yes. Well, I believe some of the ratings of the Venom 2 is the same as the first one, where critics hate it and fans love it.
Yeah. I think it's more, I don't know. I think it is a weird one, because I watched the first Venom, I thought it was great. And it's weird how it got bad reviews, because I thought it was, I don't think it was bad. I think it was quite a nice sort of
I think
nice
it's
done.
bad from a critic point of view, because critics like to have sort of emotional connections or new things or doing certain lighting things, where I think the general audience just look to have a good time. I don't try to criticize different elements.
Yeah, I think it was quirky. I think it was a quirky film, and I quite liked that. I think it's something a bit unique. I think it was just like, it wasn't like your traditional Marvel sort of superhero film, which you've seen a lot of over the years. I think it was different to that. So it was something fresh.
Yeah, it was something fresh.
Which I think audience were looking for.
But talking about something else that everyone hated, Doctor Who, Season 12. The Season 13 trailer has just dropped, and the release date has been given, and it's coming out on October 31st.
I'm excited for this. October 31st, Halloween.
Yes.
Be a spooky one. A spooky evening of Doctor Who awaits. Because there's Sontarans are teased. There's a Sontaran, I guess, ship. The sort of pod.
Yeah, I think it was broadcast over Liverpool, wasn't it?
So it should be that'll be like interesting to see them back. I think there's a couple of other different, maybe some other different aliens. I think they hinted to as well, because this is meant to be like an entire series,
so
right?
Apparently this is there's 8 episodes. I'm looking at myself. There's 8 episodes of Season 13, and they're all connected to each other, so it's all one big story, similar to sort of like a normal drama series. Which, to be fair, I think Chris Chibnall does better at than doing individual episodes. So it might be a more enjoyable series. However, Season 12 did leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah, you'd hopefully this format may improve it. and maybe the criticisms that he's faced, you would hope he's taken on board.
Yeah. He's also doing 3 specials next year before Jodie Whittaker leaves.
Oh, okay. So that's before the whole new series takes over.
Yeah, so Russell T Davies starts in 2023, which is a long way away.
Okay, so this all starts in October. So when does it finish? Like towards December?
Yeah, probably mid-December.
And then maybe something before Christmas and New Year's.
It'd probably be one in April, one in April.
They changed them, didn't they? Because they're now on New Year's. The Doctor Who specials are now on New Year's.
Yes, so
I always thought it was a really weird.
It's because Chris Chibnall said, there's not enough stories to do about Christmas, so let's do a New Year instead. No, it doesn't. You're right.
Because there's also people aren't watching TV on New Year's.
No, they're all drinking.
I'm not, anyway, I'm watching. Yeah.
Or hungover, sitting in bed.
People. Yeah. So maybe we'll watch. I normally would watch it in the morning after. But Christmas, everyone's around the TV or we'll watch definitely some Doctor Who at TV. I think it's nice. I remember as a child watching the Christmas specials.
Yeah, and then being, I know people in the US consider corny, but that's sort of the UK thing, Christmas, isn't it? Making corny specials.
Yeah, we love it. It's
a UK tradition. But yeah, Chris Chibnall.
Yeah, and Chibnall's
ruined a lot about Doctor Who, right? But hopefully Russell T Davies would just go, do you know what? It was all in the imagination of David Tennant. And then David Tennant comes back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be great, but I don't know. I think something fresh, just something new, or just something that's not bad. I
actually would rate it if Russell T Davies came along. It's just it's all a dream.
Yeah. Ooh.
So that'd be my dream, wouldn't it? You never know. Oh, apparently, okay, one other thing. This is called Doctor Who Flux.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure why it's called Flux. I think it was something. I don't know what it was referring to. Flux, where it's light.
I think it's called Flux because that's the style of the series. They want to call it Doctor Who Flux to deviate it from everything else.
Or is it
I really hate this direction.
Ambiguous flux, ambiguous flux. That's so it's slightly stuff. Maybe it's slightly like. Do you think there's going to be some stuff where they maybe think they're hallucinating? Or something around that.
Maybe they hallucinated the whole end of season 12.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
They need to retcon that somehow. They have to. Because that was so bad. That was the most poor thing I think I've seen.
Yeah.
I think that's even worse than Game of Thrones ending. Because Game of Thrones ending was just badly written. This retcons the entire show.
Yeah, I think it's just, there is this thing with... Well, this is what you get with time travel shows. It can get a bit weird.
Yes, and moving on from one thing we hate to something else that's also pretty stupid, we're going on to why did this exist? And this week, we're talking about Insulate Britain. Now, for those who don't know, there was mass protests in the UK this week and last week of protesters saying about greenhouse gases and we need to insulate Britain. And now the ringleader has been on TV.
I think to give some more background to this, the reason these are quite a controversial group. So they're sort of an offshoot group from Extinction Rebellion, and the reason they've been in the news recently is they've basically been doing a lot of protests. But the way in which they protest is by essentially sitting on motorways or very busy traffic spots in London. So around roundabouts and stuff, where sort of interconnecting busy roads. So quite a lot of traffic flow, and you can imagine this has caused quite a lot of disruption and angered a lot of people. You can argue whether these are effective or not, but I think the way in which they've gone about it is annoyed people to such an extent they don't think it's helping their cause, and that's what I think most people in Britain now think about.
You don't want to anger the London commuters.
Commuters, yeah, London commuters. They get pissed off.
They'll get pissed off at the slightest thing. Don't do it.
Yeah. So there's been quite a lot of videos coming out from sort of these groups protesting, and the police not doing as much as they should do. There's lots of criticisms around that. Anyway, but to get to the sort of the story is one of the sort of the heads, which is Liam Norton, has said he doesn't care about. He's head of Insulate Britain, and he said he doesn't care about insulating homes. So it's a bit of a bizarre turn of events. So it's this is the whole sort of scenario here has gone very weird, and it's even stranger.
Yeah, he's a bit of a nut job, and he just doesn't really answer any questions and says you're on the wrong side of history, but then causes more problems and fixes them.
Yeah, and he walked off Good Morning Britain, I think. Or yeah, he definitely walked off. I think it was Good Morning Britain. He did a Piers Morgan this. And that's what they said.
What's known as in the
It was
industry.
quite funny. Yeah, he's quite patronising as well. He talks to you like you're a fucking idiot, and it's not really respectful. And I don't think that's gonna help your cause, because you've got to talk about these things honestly and like logically, and not just insult everyone basically and say you guys don't understand, this is the end of the world. Which of course these things are serious, but there's ways in which to go about it, and I don't think they've fully appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to stop all the motorway journeys. Also, people criticise the UK. We are 1% of the world.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing they've noted a lot of these when he's being interviewed, that actually how much does this affect the global climate change issue, right? And actually, because actually how many homes he wants to insulate, it's about, I can't remember. It's not that there's only a certain percentage of UK homes. So if you then extrapolate that onto the 1%, it becomes a very, very small number of the impact on global climate change. I think I agree with it to the extent of he wants to make homes easier to heat and cheaper to heat, which helps people that are in the lower sort of income brackets, and that's good. I think that's great. But in terms of the climate change extremist argument side of it, I think they're maybe missing the point. There are other things that are worse, that are contributing to it more than a couple of 100,000 homes in the UK. The bigger fish in the sea, that in the polluting sea. So to say.
Yes, I actually watched a good sort of documentary on YouTube about this. I can't remember who it was, the group. They do sort of good animations and stuff. You probably find them online somewhere. And they were sort of talking about how much can you do to help the environment. And
is the Kurzgesagt?
Yes, I think it was them.
Kurzgesagt? They've got a weird name, but they're very good. It's great great.
Absolutely fantastic.
Science
and
stuff.
There's different debates on sort of what you can do, but their point of view is the same as my point of view, which is the only thing you can do really is vote the right people into power, because only the governments can do things, or just make sure the government know that's what they need to do. To be fair, protesting I think is a good thing for the world to an extent. Just don't do what these people are doing.
Oh, it's valid, yeah, because people didn't know about Insulate Britain before they did all this, right? So they understand their view now. But I think there are ways in which to go about it, right? Protesting, is a part of any democratic society. It's very important. It brings it can change the narrative. It can make people actually we're aware of this, and actually, if this is a bigger problem, then more people will get behind these groups. But if you're just going to do kind of ridiculous stuff that the general public aren't going to be behind you, and they're the ones with the power, right? The mass of the population that are going to, vote and cause those change. So if you annoy them, then there's not really anything that's going to happen, because you're just basically just shouting into nothing.
I mean, you pretty much don't need to do these things to go onto the news. You could just have a mass protest in sort of a park in London, and it will still get on the news, and it won't cause any problems. And people will see your view and think, oh, okay, I understand this now. And then you haven't angered everybody.
Honestly, if you just did an enormous protest in Hyde Park with, thousands of people, I think, that's easily getting it on the news. But a lot of these things, they just seem to glue themselves to stuff, to the road, put bike clocks around their neck. It's just, it's just
stupid,
too much.
Isn't it?
It's too much, man. Yeah, I just think people are like, there's this immediately questioning is this an extremist group? And are their points valid? Should I actually trust what they're saying, rather than going, actually, there's some meaningful change to happen here? And there's this many people sort of legitimately protesting, because that's the other thing. There's not that many.
No, it's not.
Right? Like, so there's not that many people across the M25. There's probably 30 people in each one of these instances. They're not like thousands and thousands. Compared to like the XR, the big protests in London, which were very large. There seems to be relatively small. So actually, how many members they actively have is actually in question, I'd say, as well, which I hadn't really thought about before. But yeah, I think it's a good point. We should probably look actually how big is this group? Is it it could be like 200 very active individuals rather than like several thousand.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the size is. I can't really find it online very much. But yeah, it's just a fair argument. But it's time to move on to our gaming news of the week we've lost the controller of the newser. And there wasn't much news this week. I couldn't find much. But what we did find was Far Cry 6. Far Cry 6 came out, but apparently it needs more VRAM to load HD textures than the RTX 3080 can supply.
Which is mad. Because the 3080 is it's a real power horse card. It can do a lot. And when it came out, like the stats, it was almost double the sort of the previous generation of graphics card, as most of these are, but it was a significant increase in power. And now we're getting these games that are just, you can't even run it on that. So it's like, it's getting crazy. So these textures that new games require are already sort of, limiting the hardware that we have available.
Yeah, I think the base model 3080, if I'm right, has 10 gigabytes of VRAM, I believe.
I thought it was 12.
I think I've seen 10 and 12. I think the base model's 10, and then other manufacturers can do 12. Because, of course, the GPU is not limited to the certain size. It's more to the card, what's on the card. So I think the base model has 10. I think it probably needs about 16, which I think the RX 6800 has. 6800...
It might...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the RX 6800 XT has 16 gigabyte.
Yeah.
If I remember. I could be saying that completely wrong. It's hard to remember. I can't look at graphics cards.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's the thing. It is a lot.
Yeah, it's insane. So yeah, most games now are having these HD packs separate, and this is to load 4K textures. You don't have to add. So it adds a lot to the game file size. You don't want to always add if you can't supply that.
Mm.
So I think the new CODs have this feature where you have to install HD textures if you want to run it at 4K.
Yeah, I think it's also relative to Christmas. Actually, this game isn't, it's the actual optimization. So apparently, according to this article, if you enable hyperthreading, you can actually reduce your FPS by 10 frames, which is a lot. Sort of due to the slightly bad optimization. To save, like, if you want to get the frames back, you disable hyperthreading in the BIOS. So it's kind of just a bit annoying. Like, kind of whether this is a purely Far Cry 6 not really having designed itself so well issue, as well as it also being enormously big game in terms of graphic requirements. But there have been like cases in the past where games have just been like, there's just been had actual problems with like load time. So I think XCOM was a famous one where the load time was like enormous, and people were just like, "Oh, your PC can't run it." But actually, there was an actual problem where like the load time was like delayed. There was like a delay run. So like even if your PC was amazing, it was actual timed based things. So it had to clock up this many things in order for it to actually load up. Which was like, they found out, they were like, "Oh my god, this is a really weird glitch," and they removed it, and then like the load times just went, "Oh, absolutely fine." Like,
but it's insane, isn't it? Really, that sort of, we have these new graphics cards now, and then when the 3000 series or the 6000 series came out, they were double the previous generation, and everyone were like, "Oh wow, look how powerful this is!" And then all these new games came out, and they're still not powerful enough, the cards.
Yeah, well, it's just people. I think it's always, if you give these game designers some headroom, they're gonna push it to the max. I think, which is frustrating, like in terms of actually being able to play these games at their best, but also good that you have the option to do so as well. But there are very few people that have PCs capable of running these things. You'll need at least probably 2 graphics cards.
It's all scary because if you want to go higher than a 3080, that's so expensive, and the new 4000 series is rumored to be almost twice the price of what it is now.
Oh yeah, this is all the
and pretty much
problems.
I think the other rumour about the 4000 series is that you will need to buy a new GPU, so not GPU, PSU, to run these cards.
Oh, is it because they're very
they're going to be hugely power hungry. So I'm sort of happy I'm holding out now, because I don't want to buy a new PSU anytime soon.
I think I've got a bit of overhead. I've got a reasonable amount of overhead. I think mine's 750 watt. So
well, I think 650 is
like,
recommended for the 6800 series or 6000 series.
Maybe I need like 800 then or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It might actually be 1000. All these people with 1000 watt PSUs will be like, "No, look at you now. They're useful."
Yeah. Although there is at some point going to be a limiting factor actually, because of the US market.
Yes, that's true, because they have a limited amount of power supply they can have.
At 120 volt, because it's 13 amp, so you can only have the maximum of the power from those two.
Yeah. So what's that? That's,
whatever, 13 times
1400 watts,
right? Yeah. So that's the maximum outlet can produce, I guess. Not really knowing specifically outlet requirements, but maybe I would say it's probably less than that. I think that's the maximum it probably can output. It could be. I think maybe it can give more current. But I know from like European, typically 230 volt supplies, 13 amp max.
Yeah, well, it's why the kettles can't be in the US. because they can't supply enough power.
Yeah, yeah. The kettle stick. Your kettle stick.
Yeah.
Like, blow up the entire US grid. Plug a kettle in.
It just proves like why is it 110?
Well, I think it technically is 240, but it's but it's like split. It's
I thought he stepped it down because he said it was safer, but then you're just like to die if you get electrocuted.
Yeah, I'd say it's technically safer, but not really. It's still over like 40
It's like
volt.
the US, I think, sweet companies said fat caused people to get fat.
Oh yeah, this is the big
Really
thing.
stupid.
Yeah, it's the sugar.
It's the same thing again. The US just make up things.
Well, yeah, it was these studies that sugar companies paid for, and then somehow the result of that sugar wasn't the bad one. Whoa, look at that. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, just don't trust the US studies. That's the thing. That's why we go with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do trust some of them. There are some good ones out there, but if I wouldn't say don't trust studies. I would say don't trust studies that are paid for by companies that have an incentive of the results.
I'd also say don't trust a single study because any single study could be wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely.
I mean, look at I think
biases.
a single study said the vaccine was unsafe somewhere, but then all the other ones said no, it was fine.
Well, yeah, it's like the there's a study that showed that a lot of the
MMR vaccines cause autism.
MMR vaccine to autism, which was one study carried out slightly badly, and there are like hundreds and hundreds of studies that oppose this argument, but people still
reference that study. Where it was like that was one study done by a fraudulent doctor.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah, which they've disproven like almost all the evidence from it. And gone, this is just
we have got severely off track. So let's get back onto track about gaming news. And let's go into the Epic free game. Epic releases free games every week, but the latest one has seemed to broke the store. And apparently 4 million people downloaded the latest game, a PC Building Simulator, within one day.
What can I say?
Have you got it?
No. But I get why people like it. I think it's sort of, people tinkering around with their PCs, but virtually, I guess. It's sort of like building your dream PC with zero consequences and no cash. So
it is pretty cool. It's a cool idea. I suppose people have to do this nowadays because they can't buy the parts.
Yeah, this is all they've got.
Sad time.
What a sad world we live in. I'm building a virtual PC.
It's too expensive to buy parts. And it's just going up in price. The GPUs are going back up price again.
Well, it's almost worse than that. It's not exactly. It's not just expensive. It's just they aren't there. You look at buying a lot of these graphics cards, they just don't exist.
And when they do exist, they are very expensive.
Yeah, the top end, there's availability on some of these top end ones, but if you want to buy anything sort of mid range, which most people want to buy, nothing. You've got to be really on it.
Yeah, you just can't buy it now
to get anything.
It's a really sad time we live in. So yes, if you would like to go build a PC, download PC Building Simulator from the Epic Games Store. It's free until Thursday, so go do it quick.
Oh,
I've just done it now, actually, while we're recording the podcast. Committed as always.
Yeah.
And what we're also committed to is our next segment, which we don't appear every week, but it's a fun segment of the weird, wacky, wonderful world. And we have 3 topics this week. And first of all, we are going with the artist Jens Hanning has taken $84,000 and sent a museum 2 blank canvases.
Yeah, so this is a great article. They essentially, I think they asked him to create some art, this sort of gallery, and he produced 2 fantastic works, which are titled "Take the Money and Run," which he says is a commentary on poor wages. One thing and he says one thing it's not is thefts, and these are just blank canvases. Basically, so he's bought some canvases and then sent them back to the modern art museum or exhibit, and then they're a bit pissed off, as you can understand.
It's so funny, isn't it?
It's like the profit margins. I can't imagine.
This is very.
He's probably made $83,000 in profit.
This is very similar to another article we covered a few weeks ago, where someone sold the invisible statues.
That's a phenomenal one, I have to say. I think what other modern art ones? My other favourite modern art being ridiculous is the banana on the wall. Have you seen
Banana
that
on the wall?
So basically there was a I think it was probably in the Tate Modern in London, where basically somebody's art was they had basically got a banana and duct taped it to the wall, right? And then there's a video of some guy going up to the banana eating it. And he just stands there eating this banana that he's taken off the wall, and then apparently the artist comes back and just puts another banana up and tapes it back on the wall again. It's like so pointless.
It just proves how stupid art is.
There's the other one, which is
like, what is art?
Yeah, the other one is some guy who basically put his glasses on the floor. Next to like this, there was basically a piece of artwork because they normally get removed for cleaning, or whatever. So he basically put his glasses on the floor, like behind like the barriers.
Right.
And then people started taking photos of his glasses, thinking it was a piece, which is amazing. He just put his glasses there, and people were like, "Oh my god, it's so revolutionary!" And he just goes up and picks his glasses up and walks off. And they're like, "Whoa, what a radical!" Yeah.
Anything can be art. Okay, we've got to go do something. I'll take modern. We just got to do something stupid.
Yeah, let's hope we don't get arrested. I don't know. Put like a traffic cone.
Just bring a cone. Bring it. There we go. Say, this is our art piece.
Yeah, I think if you just like go around it and then actually enthusiastic and go, "Oh my god, it's revolutionary, this piece," other people will probably join in. If you start taking photos of it, I'm sure you could probably. Other people would also start taking photos of it.
So a study in it. If you say, "Oh, look over there," then include people and they all just look at it.
Oh yeah.
And then you walk away.
That's
and
a
then
great one.
You just keep joining in.
Yeah, it's great. I love those videos where it's just nothing. And they're like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And it's like there's absolutely nothing there. People are like in like social situations don't want to feel stupid enough, so they just commit to it.
Social influencing is highly hilarious. But from one strange art story to another one. The McDonald's in China is giving away 188 NFTs on its 31st anniversary.
Yeah, what a great story.
Good old NFTs.
I have to say, I do not understand NFTs and how why they're valuable.
It's digital art.
Understand. But why has it got value? It's purely faith. I can understand like crypto and stuff. It makes sense, but like NFTs are just so. They just don't.
Well, it's the same thing as buying a crypto, but instead of it being tied to money, it gets tied to artwork.
It's not though, because there isn't like actual foundation. Like, it doesn't. The blockchaining thing, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, apparently it does because it makes billions of money.
Yeah, I don't know. I really it's just one of those weird things where I think it's like, it's gone too far. There's going to be a big crash and everyone's going to lose their money. People are going to go, these are stupid, and then it's just going to go,
we're going to have another tulip situation on our hands. That was a mad one.
I think so.
Yeah, so there's various different NFTs they've made. The first one is the Big Mac Rubik's Cube.
It looks good.
It's cool artwork, and they're giving it away.
It's probably worth like £4 billion.
It probably is.
It's so stupid.
Absolutely insane. It's just art though. It's the whole art world. It just doesn't make any sense.
That's true. I guess this is like crypto mixed with art, so it's just gonna go mad, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's crazy. You're not gonna buy an NFT then?
Maybe.
Go on to Curve and buy one.
I want to know because there must be some cheap
ones.
Ones,
I think you can buy something like 100 quid or something.
That's not cheap.
No, those are the cheap ones. 100 quid's the cheap ones.
I want like spend like £5
probably
on
could.
something.
You can
I want a really cheap one. I'm sure some fucker's selling one for that. Like,
you can make your own. Make your own NFT.
Like, yeah, that's sure. Let's make my own. I don't know how to do it.
Maybe we could sell our podcast logo as an NFT.
Yeah,
because you can.
Yeah, logo.
Thanks very much. Appreciate my expertise
No worries.
of GIMP. Fantastic artwork. It's not like it can be really easy made by just pressing a few buttons. Highly intellectual. Actually, shall we do it? Get hashtag #BeansBangYourMum trending on Twitter, and then I'll make an NFT of our artwork.
Yeah, that's true. We do that.
Yes, and our final story came from Reddit, and there's a video of a police officer hitting a woman as he's trying to make an arrest.
Yeah, well, no, she's...
Yeah, then he went... Okay, that's what I'm going to say.
It's just one of those... Just scrolling through Reddit, and I was like, it's on r/win stupid prizes, which I think is basically a bunch of people doing very stupid things. And so I think it's just in like a bar. Looks like an alright bar. Looks a bit weird. Looks very American.
Of course it's American. It's always American. It's such an American thing to do.
Yeah, and some guy's getting arrested in the corner, and then some woman walks over, filming it. All fine, all jolly good, and then she puts her hand in. The policeman pushes her away and says, "Get away," and then she then hits him, and it involves an altercation, shall we say?
To be fair, that police officer probably
it's
shouldn't have been
just
so
like-
aggressive to the woman.
Yeah, well, he is an American.
What do you
policeman, So, he probably thought her phone was a gun. So
It's so stupid, isn't it? It's so true.
I thought her iPhone was an AR-15. You see? Oh, that's very
Yeah.
reasonable, thank you.
Supreme Court, that's fine.
That's fine.
So it's like, her house is burning. No, this is fine.
Yeah.
And yes, that is the weird world we live in for this week. And it's time to go on to tech time and science shenanigans. And we're going to start off with Philips's new CT scan.
It's a video that I found, which is basically a CT scanner. So normally a CT scanner, it's a big plastic white box and you sit inside it, right? So this is a video essentially of the CT scanner, but without the cover on. It's fucking mental. It looks like a Stargate portal. So it's spinning up, and I can understand why they've got these things covered, because crikey, it gets quite quick. I think it's just quite interesting as well, sort of seeing the internals of these sort of, quite complex medical equipment, and just seeing what essentially is going on when you're sitting inside.
Yeah, have you ever had one before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so I've been in one, and you can tell it's going fast.
I guess the sound, they do sound quite loud, don't they? I've heard that.
Well, they're not that loud, but they do sound like they're about to take off.
Yeah, I said it spins like very quickly.
It's fantastic bit of engineering, though.
Oh yeah, it is. It looks so cool.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Good old medical work.
So we'll put a link. We'll put a link to that video in the description.
Yes, if I remember.
Yeah.
If I don't remember,
let's hopefully
pod me
remember.
on Twitter, but I don't use Twitter, so just do that anyway. Talking about things taking off like rockets, the British minister has released their vision of the UK's future, and it wants the UK to become a science superpower by making Britain's own rockets and satellites. Also, gene-edited meat to make genetically meat, so you'd have to keep killing things as well, so we can just make meat without having to kill.
I think it's good. I think the UK has always done quite well at innovation. If you look at sort of historically, we've invented the most things, you could say. So I think it's a good push. I think we've got quite a good sector. I think in satellites we've got some quite. I think when satellites were quite developed within the entire market. The rockets. We're pretty behind most nations with that. I don't know if that's a decent area to push into. I think it's clearly that area is being privatized more and more. So whether you can subcontract and stuff, I think that's a good area to go in.
Yes, so apparently this one person is investing £440,000 into the 16 billion sector, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
However, what I find most ironic about this is they're saying we're having gene-edited meat to help climate crisis, but then we'll make our own rockets.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I'm not so sure about it. I think it's good. I think it's a good sort of position to probably put the UK in, sort of post Brexit. We need to sort of find maybe a new position in the world. So maybe sort of being a science hub is probably a good way to go.
Oh, absolutely. That is the future, isn't it?
I think
Technology, science. It's what we need to do. Harness dark energy. If we can harness dark energy, we can do everything.
Yeah, I don't know. That's quite a way off, I would say.
It has to happen. It's the only thing we have to do it at some point.
Well, you probably want to do fusion before.
Oh yeah, 100%. We don't know what dark energy is.
Right? Well, we don't also know what it is. So harnessing it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I know, but we need to do it. That's when space travel will take off. Is when we can harness dark energy.
Yeah, that's probably true because it's one of the most efficient reactions, isn't it? And that's where you can get.
Well, dark energy is what's causing the universe to expand, and if it can do that much power to make a universe expand, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably how it's going to sort of happen. Because there is this argument actually in terms of the way it's like these sort of conflicts, right? So if you set a ship off now, right, and sent it to go into like say Mars or something, it would take how many years to get
6
there?
months,
Wasn't it?
I think
like
it was.
30 years
6
to get
months
to
to
Mars?
land the rover.
Oh right, yeah. So maybe 30 years is way too much. But anyway, I'm talking about like long distances, right? So say it took like 30 years currently to get to somewhere in space.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know, like Jupiter or something. The problem you're then faced is the fact that because it takes so long to get there, I'm talking actually 30 years is probably not long enough. I'm talking like maybe like 60 years or something to get somewhere. Problem is, it takes you so long to get somewhere that technology back on Earth has improved over that 60 years, so that actually you're probably going to be overtaken by the next generation of rockets by the time you're going along. And there's this dilemma that if you're going so far that you actually have to, it's bad setting off early, so you have to get to a certain level of technology, because otherwise you will just end up overtaking yourself.
That's quite funny, wouldn't it? You go along in space and you see the other rocket just flying past, you go, oh, that's that time.
Yeah, we've been travelling for 60 years. Oh, it's only been 15 minutes for us. So, yeah.
Yeah, also relativity as well changes sort of how long you're in space. If you're in there for 60 years, it means the outside world's actually longer than that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, time dilation is an interesting one, isn't it?
If you travel, I think it's like 5 minutes, so it's not that much. Because it depends how fast you're going. The faster you travel, the more the outside world ages more than you. Or is it the other way around? I don't know. I think it's the other way around. Oh, yeah, muons. So muons have a 45-second decay, but when they go through we perceive it as 60 seconds, but they travel 45 seconds.
This is all very...
It is. I think we should move on.
I'm not an expert on this. Yeah.
Let's move on to the dystopian future. And Singapore has now released police robots that survey the area, and it has angered and feared their residents. I've never seen these. These things are very creepy. This is like Watch Dogs Legion creepy.
I think
they look quite funny. But honestly, think about it. You've got these robots that patrol you, and if you do something illegal, it calls the police on you.
Well, yeah, but what's that different to just having a policeman there?
It's not different, but it's just kind of weird, isn't it? It's like, do you really like having robots spy on you all the time? I know we have CCTV, don't get me wrong.
Well, yeah, but it's also like, this is essentially what a policeman would be doing, but it's not.
Yeah, it's just a robot.
Essentially, yeah, it can basically mean that you've got more police on the streets effectively, right?
But at what point do you fear your freedom? Because you're just...
Well,
I know it's
illegal
stuff, illegal.
It's like out in public, right? This is all out in public. So I would think if they're like tracking your personal property, they're like tracking your phones and taking your data that way, and inside your own home, I think it's when you properly infringe it. But if you're doing like, if it finds you committing a crime in the streets, I think that's fine.
Oh yeah,
right?
I do agree with that, but it's just the sort of the point of...
I don't think it's over... Yeah, you can say things are like being over observed, but this just seems like a sort of a slightly upgraded CCTV camera, right?
Yeah, it is.
That can move around.
I think if people didn't cause crime, then you wouldn't need any of this.
Oh yeah, but I don't think it's
right. You never know, maybe on a spaceship in 60 years' time.
Yeah, yeah.
On a new society.
I don't know. I think it's human nature.
What, to commit crime?
Well, it's trying to cheat, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Make a shortcut in life. That's like human nature. Do everything the most efficient way possible.
So, yeah, basically. So I don't know that, because a lot of it's just about trying to get shortcuts, right? It's just like stealing money. That's like a shortcut to get money.
Killing someone's a shortcut to their death.
Things. Well, maybe not that. But that's more of an act of vengeance than anything. Or
what is it not? Like it's just the shortcut to their punishment. And the murderer's eyes. I mean.
Yeah, but it's. Yeah, but you're not gaining. You're not. You're gaining on a more sort of emotional level.
It's unlikely they don't.
So, no. So you're gaining. Yeah, it's a different kind of gain. But yeah,
it's still a shortcut to something.
Yeah, I think crime is always going to exist, even if you send people off to Mars. I don't think it's going to change. Maybe it'd be more reasonable because the people that you're sending up there are less likely to commit crimes, not genetically. Some people are more genetically disposed to commit crimes, but it's more taking risks, I think, is what the disposition is really. But yeah, I don't think it's ever going to change, really.
Yeah, probably not. But from one thing to another, that was actually the worst segue I've ever done in my life. Microsoft is now announced plans to right to repair. So there's now this massive movement within the community of mainly Apple, forced because Apple is the scumbag of a company for this, of people saying they should have the right to repair their own gadgets. And the laws do agree with this. And Microsoft has just announced they are considering their new plans of their new products for people to be easier to repair.
Yeah, which is great. It's great news that some sort of, this one of the big companies in currently on the planet is committed to this. That they're sort of on board with it. It's great. It's great to hear. Sort of good counter to Apple. I think Apple's stance on a lot of rights repair is ridiculous. It's outdated. I think it's almost sort of going against a lot of environmental and sustainability, sort of trying to maintain them, which I think, a company like Apple probably needs to do. So, one of the biggest producers of phones, it needs to be, reasonably easy to replace some essential parts, and it's just not. And there's so many other things with the MacBooks and stuff, where they're just quite designed in such a way that it's hard to just easily replace them, and also the parts supply as well. Getting the parts supply can be quite hard, and the fact that you have to take it to Apple to repair it, which
nothing's worse than Apple's iPhones.
Yeah, I think there's loads of videos out there of the Apple so-called Genius Bar being unable to repair their own products, where you can send it to a third-party tech store and they repair it, in a couple of minutes.
But this is why Apple's trying to make it so difficult to repair your phone. They just buy a new one, so they make more money. That is Apple's goal.
Yeah, basically, it's like this is essentially unregulated capitalism, right? Essentially, so where they just they care so little about anything else that they simply would just sell you a new phone. It's like your mechanic breaking your car and then saying, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have to sell you a new one, mate."
It doesn't exist, does it? Anywhere else?
Or like not actually fixing your car. Yeah, it's like your mechanic not actually fixing your car. And it's the other thing is like you can fix anything else, right? If you're perfectly titled by like Ford and whoever your car is to repair your own car, but with Apple you're not.
No, you're not. Although car companies do try to make it difficult as well. Many companies try to make it difficult, but it's good to have a company now that starts to make the change. So I think this is going to be...
It's supportive, yeah.
They want to have Microsoft devices outside of their limited number of authorized repair shops, because Microsoft aren't known for repairing things very much at all.
I think it makes it easier for them, and it makes it easier for the consumers. I think it's a win-win.
I think the whole idea behind this is that it will reduce electronic waste.
Yeah, which is a big problem. It's one of the e-waste is one of the biggest contributors to sort of the global sort of, I guess, your sort of carbon emissions and stuff. Because the big problem is
China making all everything.
A lot of the stuff a lot of it has very precious metals in, and they have a lot of these heavy metals, which can be quite dangerous. So in Africa, they have these basically big mounds of e-waste, where essentially they burn a lot of the wiring because it's got copper in it. But of course, if you're burning these insulated wires, the fumes and stuff coming off them can be very dangerous. So the health of these, essentially very impoverished African workers, essentially just working on scrap heap, burning metal and who knows what else within these sort of products, and then extracting a small amount of copper, maybe a bit of gold, and some other heavy metals. And it's just pretty ridiculous that this sort of goes on. This stuff should all be done, properly and safely, but it's just, just dumped, and the lowest sort of most impoverished people have to deal with this waste, and it's just not.
So also, our society would like to upgrade things constantly. We have a new iPhone every year that's the exact same as the last one, and then people buy it, and then that creates e-waste because it then gets sold on. Granted, most second-hand phones do get passed down to other people, but then they lose their phones, and eventually, somewhere down the line, it creates more landfill. So every time a new product is released, it will generate a lot more landfill than the last, which is a bit sad, and if you think about it. So you never know, maybe computers getting limited power is a good thing. It means these companies won't be able to make any more landfill.
Well, I think it's going to stop them.
No, they'll probably still just make up something new. They just improve the cameras. That's the only thing they can do now.
Yeah.
The only thing they can do, especially with the chip shortage as well. Limited what they can do. But talk about the chip shortage. Sony is reportedly considering jointly with TNMC. I got that right name wrong, didn't I? That's the one. TSMC to build a large chip factory in Japan, which could help.
It's good.
Chip. No, McDonald's chips. No.
McDonald's chips. No. All of these. Help increase the sort of the production loads of chips. In the global, because there's global shortage. I think it's good. It's good to hear that there's investments coming from companies. Japan's probably one of the places.
But TSMC is, I believe, the largest chip supplier in the world.
Yeah, the Taiwanese.
Yeah, a lot of AMD. I think all their products are made by TSMC. because they're the only ones who have the 5nm process. I think Apple now has it, actually.
Yeah, apparently they want to get up and running by 2024, which is pretty damn impressive. If they can get it done by then.
Well, the shortage might last until then. It's not going away because they can't. The supply isn't going up. It's not meeting the demand.
Yeah, I think it's lockdown essentially has caused the demand for more electronics more than ever. People that may not have them previously have now been, forced into getting more electronics, and so the backlog for all these things is essentially empty. There's no sort of stock in reserve. That's all being eaten up, and then demand's increasing more because more people are working from home than ever, and people essentially need two computers. I think people need like computers that are on site, and then also PCs that they can take home or have at home. And people are spending more time inside inherently because they've been locked in lockdown for a while, and so they're buying better TVs and laptops and phones for that, watching streaming services. So I think that's what's caused this.
It is bad. So hopefully by having another factory, it can help shorten it. Hopefully the chip shortage doesn't last until 2024, but I think it will, unfortunately. So this investment is worth £5.2 billion, which is a big boy money. And I imagine a lot of these chips will go straight into Sony consoles, just so they can try to meet the demand of the PS5s.
Yeah, well, maybe at least something's getting shipped out.
Yeah, so
be great.
Also, because last week the Xbox announced chip shortages will last until 2022. Obviously, that would happen, and I think that's still a conservative estimate. A lot of people do say 2023 will be the end date of this, but that's 2 years in the future. That's 2 years of unpredictability.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. That's when it's going to be turning. Yeah, that's probably when the tides might turn a bit. But it's still a while away as well. That's the other thing. And I think that probably will be okay for some of these more sort of mobile and sort of laptop stuff. But maybe you're the top end for the graphics cards and stuff. I think it's going to last a bit longer. And I think everything's still going to cost more inherently.
Yes, I think we're going to have to find. We're just going to have a few years of trouble electronics. Maybe we should just stop upgrading electronics for 2 years. If we just stop, everyone stops doing that, we'll be all right.
Yeah, but I want a big.
I know we do. I want one too, but the crypto miners take them all. It's very sad times.
Damn Bitcoin miners.
But if you are in for new technology and you're in for a new TV, you can get the new Sky Glass TV. So Sky have decided, for those across the pond or international viewers, Sky is a TV company in the UK. I believe it's under Comcast, actually, in the US.
Yeah, I think they are owned by an American. So they produce a TV. They normally sort of more broadcasting, right? That's where Sky. So you've got Sky Sports. They own a lot of broadcasting rights to a lot of stuff. That's probably Sky Atlantic owns the UK rights to, like, for example, the HBO. A lot of the HBO stuff. Sky Atlantic. And they also have a lot of broadband infrastructure within the UK as well. I think they have probably some stuff in Europe and overseas a little bit as well. But yeah, they decided to produce a television, which is quite a different move. Previously haven't really had many products, or they've been very Sky specific.
I've never seen a TV company do this in the US, in the UK ever. This is a bit of a bizarre thing.
But it's like the BBC making a television. Although the BBC used to make computers. So
that is true, but I think that's just the fact people couldn't afford computers, but people can afford TVs. Also, so let's get some details on these TVs. The costing is from 43, 55, and 65 inches in size, and this will cost $649, $849, or $1,049 respectively. So not cheap TVs at all, by any means. They are LCD panels, and they have Dolby Atmos, HDR, and sound.
Oh, I hope they had sound.
No, Dolby Atmos sound, actual good sound for the price. Apparently, they use Samsung's quantum dot technology for the better colors. And that's it. So they're very expensive TVs.
And they sound like, they're expensive for probably what they are. It's just an interesting move from Sky to sort of produce television. I think the TV looks nice as TVs go.
And the advantage of these TVs is that you will not need a satellite dish. So at the moment, Sky uses the satellite communications as compared to Virgin Media in the UK, which uses cable. And I think this is pretty much a TV with built-in Sky Go.
Yeah. I don't know what else I don't know if it's any better like than just the traditional Sky Go app. I assume it must be offering something more.
Probably not. It probably is just Sky Go.
But
It
yeah,
probably just has the software built in for the Sky Q box, but it's actually just the Sky Go app or Sky Go drivers or whatever in the TV that just drive the TV. So it is.
Maybe you can get higher quality. Maybe you can get higher quality content.
Also, I don't know about you, but I don't like this TV design. It's got a massive chin.
I thought it looks alright.
It looks like a Mac.
That is true. It does have a big chin.
And if you look at TVs, like none of them have big chins.
That's not a weird
No,
soundbar,
that is
it?
the chin.
Like, yeah, that is a bit strange. I was gonna say most TV these days trying to put all of it behind because you don't need a chin.
Yeah, I think is it LG or is it Sony? They managed to put Dolby Atmos speakers in the TV, so it blasts through the panel.
Yeah, but they're gonna sound awful though.
All TV sounds awful. You have to get an actual soundbar.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say most. Yeah, you need a soundbar or headphones. You know.
Oh no, apparently it is a Dolby Atmos soundbar.
That's what I do.
On the TV.
Oh, it is. Oh, right. Because I was gonna say.
Oh, okay, that makes it a bit more valuable for money actually. Because the Dolby Atmos soundbar is like 300 quid.
Yeah, but it depends how good this.
It's probably still bad. If it's a built-in thing, it's gonna be.
It depends who makes the speakers and stuff. But yeah, I think if it's got a soundbar built, the price does look a bit better than it was before, and the TV makes more sense. I think I'm not gonna buy one, but somebody.
Well, I find it just sort of kind of weird how Sky have made their own TV instead of just having someone else's TV. You would have thought like maybe a Samsung TV with Sky built in would make more sense.
Yeah, like a partners sort of deal.
Yeah, but no, they just made their own TV.
Well, I assume it's all subcontracted anyway, but yeah, it's an
well, I imagine they've got some designers built into Sky, and they were like, okay, let's make these things, let's get these panels from somewhere else, and they bought some manufacturers. But it's all going to be designed from Sky, which is weird. As Sky's designed a TV.
Yeah.
Would you get one?
Maybe it'd be the start. No, definitely not. Too much money, and I don't need Sky.
No. Twitch all the way.
Yeah, Twitch, YouTube.
That is what you want.
Amazon Prime, Disney. There's so much content out there.
The rise of the streaming services.
Although I have Sky Go.
It's good for sport and Game of Thrones. The two things in the world you need from Sky. Everything else, nah. Basically. You don't need it. But that is the end of the show. So thank you for listening. If you made it this far, congratulations. You probably beat everyone else. Well done. You get a round of applause.
Well done. Yeah. It's goodbye from me.
Yes, and so check us out next week for another episode. TBO last week was James Bond. So if you did want to look at No Time to Die spoiler review, go check that out. I'm pretty sure I was pretty quiet during the whole review. I was pretty tired that day we recorded, so I'm very sorry for that one. And check us out next week for another episode of TVO, which will be on something. I don't remember what it is.
Well,
you can look forward to it. It's another episode of something. I think it's a good one. Is it a good one? I'll find out. That is the end of this episode. Oh no, I've got it here. It is.
Drum roll, please.
Alita Battle Angel. It's like episode 100. Oh, we've got episode 100 special coming up this week. So.
Oh, huzzah.
We have a Alita Battle Angel. It is coming finally. For those who don't know, this is the co-host Danny of his favorite film of all time, which is actually a lie. He absolutely hates this film. This is the man who went to see the film twice. Once to actually see it, and the second time to write a document about why he hated it so much. So in this episode, we have the Alita Battle Angel watch along. So get your popcorn ready, get it up on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus, and you can watch our commentary throughout the film, and then you get my opinion of watching it the first time. So we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.